right, let's see. Am I going to see myself on my Facebook page? Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Doll. It is 7 o'clock on Tuesday evening, November the 8th, Election Day. I hope if you haven't gone to vote, you can skip the video and go vote, please, because that's much more important. You can always watch the replay on the vote on the video. Yes, I'm here this evening to do a card making demonstration, and I am. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can find where everything is going to be, and let's see if I can find myself. Let's see. Okay, I see something else there. I'm looking at my page, previous ones. Okay, still looking, still looking. Okay, I'm not seeing it on that particular portion of the page. It's like I have two different pages and I can't figure out from one time to the next which page I'm supposed to be on. So let's see. Let's go back to the home page. And so there we are. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Oh, darn it. No. Back to this one. Here we are. Right now. Okay. Also, one of the things I really enjoy having on my videos is the closed captioning. Oftentimes, I need to be able to see that when I'm listening to something on television because of the fact that I wear hearing aids. But also, it helps you, hopefully, if the sound is right. And let me check that here really quickly. Sorry for all this palaver in the middle here. The closed captioning, oftentimes. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. All right, excellent. Thank you very much for being here this evening. I will be looking for comments, and I will try to remember to look up every now and then. And if someone has written a comment, I'll say hello to you. I am a Stamping Up demonstrator and have been for a little over 18 years. And I am, let's see, hold on. Here we go. I'm trying to get a full screen here so I can see better where I am and move things up so people can see better. There we go. Okay. Anyway, hopefully I didn't mess up the. Hi, Deanna. Glad you're here. Yay. Okay, so anyway, a usual spiel as I get started. Welcome to my Facebook Live event. I do this every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, unless I note it somehow on my Facebook page. And I demonstrate cards, how to make cards using different stamp sets. The stamping is pretty basic in that what I want you to be able to do is to take the ideas that I show you and use materials that you have on hand if you already are a stamper, and then you can be inspired to make your own. If you like anything that you see that I demonstrate, and of course I demonstrate only Stamping Up products, you're welcome to contact me, and I have catalogs that are available, and I can make sure that you get our annual catalog, which looks like this, and it runs through the end of April, April 30th. All right, and the stamp set that we're using this evening comes out of our annual catalog. Then we also have currently running a mini catalog, which is, we used to call it our spring or holiday mini. Actually, this is not the spring mini, but a holiday mini. And this will enable, this one has a lot of the holiday items in it, the holiday products that we offer. It does go through, it says through December 2022, but actually that goes through January 4th. The products, as far as I know, are all still current and available. And if you should like to order any of these things, you can go to my website, on the Stamping Up website. It is this https://virginiadoll.stampinup.net. And on my demonstrator web page, there is a shop button. You can click on that shop button, or you can just go directly to stampinup.com, and they have an online this is linked to the online store, which is what you'll see when you go here. And the online store, you can just give them my name, Virginia Doll, as your demonstrator. If you do not have a demonstrator. Now, if you do have a demonstrator, I'm glad you're joining us, and I'm delighted to be sharing this stamping experience with you. But if you have a demonstrator, please make sure you order from your demonstrator. And please share this video if this is the first time that you have seen my page, Virginia's Creative Stamping Corner, and that way that will expand my audience, and to see some of your friends can see the things that I do. All right, now as I said before, we have several things that we're going to go over just briefly, like catalog type things. I call it kind of housekeeping. The fitting florets, which is an offering in our new catalog, our new mini catalog that comes out in January and runs through June. This is kind of like a sneak peek at it, and this actually, it's a collection of products. Two of the products will be in the spring, or the January through June mini. Some of these products will, however, are definitely limited time only, and let you look at some of these. There is a stamp set and a die set. We call this a bundle. It's called Flamed Florets Stamp Set, Flamed Florets Dies. It is the bundle. When you buy these two items together, you get to save 10%. The other items in this collection, which are all limited edition, which means they're only available until January 4th, are these gold adhesive back swirls, the festive framed and festive stamp set, which is basically a Christmas greeting or sentiment stamp set, and then the designer series paper, which is 12 by 12. And you know that all of our designer series paper is double-sided, so you're seeing this is the front, this is the back, the front, the back, the front, the back. So beautiful, beautiful patterns. Some of them are definitely floral, others are more of a different kind of pattern, right? So that is available starting, well, it started the 1st of November and it goes through the 4th of January. But if you happen to miss it or can't quite make it to get that this time, these two items will be in our mini catalog, our January through June mini catalog. So just letting you know that that offer is out there. Okay. All right. So enough catalog stuff, with the exception of going on back into our annual catalog, where I said the stamp set is that we are using, and it is located on page 73. All right. It is called. Let me move this out of the way here. Okay. It is called The Flowers of Friendship. It's just a stamp set. Well, not just a stamp set. It is a stamp set. There are several images, and these images that are in white are images that we have a punch that goes with this, and it's called the Flower and Leaves Punch. And these are, hopefully you can see that without too much, there we go, glare. These are these items that are punched out that you can actually stamp beforehand and then punch them out. And you'll see that on some of the cards that I demonstrate for you this evening. So the flower and leaves punch. I use that. Here is the Flowers of Friendship stamp set, up close and personal. It is a cling mount stamp set, which means it's red rubber. And typically what I do when I get a punch that goes with a stamp set, I make sure that I use this as a guide for when I'm stamping my pieces, my items, so that I know exactly how to stamp them. I tend to stamp things that I'm punching on scraps of paper, so I want to maximize exactly how I do that. And so then here's the red rubber, which is cushioned, and it's different from our photopolymer stamp sets. Okay, so we're using several stamps out of that set. So, and then one other item I am using, and this is the pretty pillbox. I used this die to frame the words that you see on this card. Okay? And that's the die that I used. Because I thought it was just the right size and just enough decoration. It is, I think you can see, it's stitched along the edges of that. All right. So let's pull that back in here just a second. And let me clear my desk a little bit so that we can actually look at the card that we're making this evening. Here is the card. It is relatively simple, mostly stamps, ink, and paper again. I did one like this, our stamps, ink, and paper set last week. I did do a little something on the inside. There is a stamp that is part of this. I also stamped it along the edge there. And colored it in, so I did use some blends, and I'll show you those blends in a minute. These are the 2021, 2022, or 2023, sorry, in color opal rounds that I used here. Primarily, I think it was the fresh fuchsia that I was trying to imitate there with these. These are really, really light. It's hard to see the color on them. They look almost clear, but they're also somewhat iridescent, so they do pick up the colors in your card. And then this is the fresh freesia open weave ribbon, and you can't see the word "you" that much. I need to move that down a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to use. I'll leave this up here so that you can see that. All right, well, of course, we always need our envelope. And when I did use the Memento Black ink pad, because I'm using Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol-based markers, and this is the best ink pad to use for that because it won't smear. All right, so use that to print, or not to print, to stamp this stamp right here. Hopefully you can see that. All right, and I stamped it along the edge here. We'll do that in just a few minutes. Here are the words I stamped in the Memento ink, and I went ahead and die cut that out for you. All right, well, you'll be using dimensionals on that. I keep forgetting to write down my measurements. Okay, so this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, I'm pretty sure. Yes, 5 1/4. And both of these inserts, or both of these pieces, are 4 by 5 1/4. This is basic white. This is Granny Apple Green. And this is fresh fuchsia. Fuchsia. Freesia, I'm sorry. Oh, what? Sorry, getting my names all mixed up today. All right, and this is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and it is scored at 4 1/4. All right, a typical card base. Let's go ahead and make sure that we find my bone folder here, and go ahead and get that card base ready for us to put it together. Okay, all right. Now, we are going to be stamping on one of these pieces of basic white, and then the other piece of basic white we will also stamp on as well. So, I mean, this one is actually going to go on the front of the card, and it will be mounted on this. It's got that, sorry, that's got to be slightly smaller, sorry. This one is not 4 by 5 1/4. Let me measure that one again. This is 4 by 5 1/4. This is, maybe this is slightly larger. Oh, okay, this is 4 1/8. Sorry, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, I think. Yes, 5 3/8. So this is slightly larger than that. Now, this is 4. I'm sorry. All right, I'll write that down and make sure that that's clear in the comments. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this, and since it's a red rubber cling mount stamp set, I am not going to need to use any kind of cushioning underneath, although cushioning is always good. So I'm going to go ahead and, this is a long stamp. You can take, because that did not ink all the way, you can take your pad and turn it upside down and tap it on there. And I think you'll find that works slightly better. All right, and I always turn my memento pad upside down regardless of how long I'm using it for. Okay, I'm going to put that there, and then, yeah, make sure I got that on the right corner. All right, there's that. Using this stamp one more time. We're going to stamp on the bottom of our page. Here we go. And I use my grid paper to help me keep things straight. All right, I'm going to center this in the bottom. Let it sit for just a couple of seconds. All right, and there we go. All right, now I'm off camera here. I'm cleaning off my stamps as we do this. All right. Now, this idea came from all of the ideas that I'm showing you tonight. I looked on Pinterest and did a little research, and most of the time when I do that, it's one of those things where I will find an idea that I like, but based on the materials that I happen to have, I will take off with that, and I may not be able to make it exactly like the card that I see. Sometimes they are exact copies of the card that I see. Okay, now, let's see, that's printed, that's done. I think we need to go ahead, and we will need that again. Okay, this is the next stamp that I need. And I'm going to stamp this twice. I am going to do a little bit of coloring, so I'll talk to you in a minute about those blends that we're going to use for that. So let's put this here. You're going to be able to see that well enough. Again, this is a large stamp, so I'm going to take it and stamp it It is an outline stamp, which means that involves coloring. All right, and I'm going to put this right about there. All right, and then I'm going to stamp it one more time. This is a very delicate little stamp set. I like this one a lot. I think I'm going to, what I did with this one was try to fit it as close to this one as I could and leave a little space, because I need that space at the top for my greeting, for my salutation or my sentiment. So here we go. You notice I am stamping off just a little tiny bit right there. All right, and there's that. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the blends that we're going to use. All right, we're going to use, these blends are the light fresh freesia and the dark fresh freesia. Then we're going to use, now this one I had a little bit of an issue with, but that's okay. The light Calypso Coral, which is very light, and then the dark Calypso Coral, which is very dark. So I'm trying to balance those two. I was having a little bit of an issue with that, but those are the two flower colors. I wanted something kind of pinkish, or well, not really pinkish, but you know, lighter colored. And then this is the Granny Apple Green Light and the Granny Apple Green Dark. Well, I started out using the light, and I decided that I'd rather use the Granny Apple Green Dark to color my leaves in. My old olive and mossy meadow and some other colors that I have to order some new blends because they've gotten worn out. So I haven't put an order in for those just yet. I will sometime next week. Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to use this. The first one I'm going to use is the Granny Apple Green Dark. All right. You'll see that it works better, I believe. Okay. Okay, it's a darker color. See, it's darker than that, and I kind of like that better, I think. If you want the shading that the leaves have on them, the little lines and so forth, you can certainly start with the lighter color, and that will help you. You add the extra darker shade that you want to add on to it. But I'm just going to go with the dark one right now, and I'm going to go in a few minutes once that dries a little bit, and use the I'm going to cut my tip here because it's, there we go. All right. Well, I know this is tedious watching me color. Isn't it fun? I should have probably just colored one or two of them. It doesn't really take that long though, so bear with me while I try to do this and stay inside the lines. That's the tricky part, staying in the lines. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go back to that one in just a minute. Now, I will start with the flowers. I will start with the flowers with the lighter color and then come back to that. So here's the light fresh freesia. And again, just barely, just painting the color on with the brush tip. These tips are so fragile, you really have to be careful and not put too much pressure on them. Alright, goes fairly quickly here. And there are 3 flowers on each one of these, so I tend to prefer to use the brush tip, but sometimes sometimes the small end, or the pen tip side, this is the darker one, by the way, works better in the very thin areas. So I'm going to go in here, and I am really not going to do any blending. I am just going to try to go in here and use those lines that the artist used to give a little shading and dimension. Now I can go back if that doesn't look dark enough, and right now that doesn't look very dark to me, and take and do a little bit with the brush tip end of the dark, where I can see a little bit more depth and dimension. Okay, I think so. Sometimes I think I find also that the pen tip end of the blends is a little lighter than the brush tip end. All right, so that's the fresh freesia. Let's go back in with our dark and see if we can get a little bit more dimension in this one. Some of these on these leaves. Oops, sorry, that might be hard for you to see. All right, now let's use the Calypso Coral, and there we go. As I said, it's very, look how light that is. That's very light. Almost a peachy color. It could be also that my marker might be a little dried out. I may go back and try and fill in some of this with my other tip to see if that's any darker. Because as I said, the other, I think I need to put this on my list to order. All right. Let's see. This is still the light, and I'm going to go back in and color a little bit more there. See? Now in this case, this is a little darker. Ah, weird. It is what it is. You've got to try different things. So this end is darker than the brush tip end. And that's okay. You can use that to do a little bit more shading and outlining along the edges to give that shading that you might want. But some of these spaces are so small, not sure I want to spend a whole lot of time, because I'm not sure you'll be able to really see any difference in the amount of shading. All right, so there's more of a coral color. All right, yes, now this is, okay, so these, I'm going to just try to do this very lightly on this. Even the light tip end is dark. Now I put a little something right there. You can always go back if you think it's a little bit too dark and use your lighter color to pull some of that out. And if you think it looks too much like lines on there, I mean, I could take this and go back through with my light one and kind of smooth that out just a little bit. Okay, I definitely know I need a new one of those. All right, so that's the major part of that piece. Now let's go ahead and build the other pieces, and we will go back here and color these pieces as well. So maybe we should do that while we're still coloring. All right, I wanted to put, oh, I don't know, I could make it 3 and 3. I think maybe I will. I think I might just do that. All right. So let's go here. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing, sorry. Get that up there, just a tiny little, it doesn't take too much. These are tiny little images. Let's see. It's an uneven number. It's 7, so I can't do just 3 and 3. That's 6. So I could leave one white in the middle, maybe. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what I think. All right. Since this end is darker, I'm going to go here. Well, Deanna, I hope you've had a good week so far. Oops. Okay. I was going to do the, oh well, it is what it is. Yeah. Was talking and not, that's not always a good idea. All right, so this is, as I said, this is really dark. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing here, but it doesn't matter. Nobody will know. It is. I think I will leave that white. I could, I guess, go in and do a green one, like a really light green one. Right in the center. I guess I have a hard time not coloring an image. So here we go. Sorry. Okay, there we go. All right, so those pieces are done. That's not too bad. Okay. This goes on the inside of our card, so let's put that in here just temporarily. Let's go ahead and build this piece. I'm going to use my trusty little silicone mat. Move my markers off of there. And my glue. Now I could I will pop this up. I will use dimensionals to pop these two, but this mat underneath of this green, see that really goes very nicely. That works very nicely. So I'm just going to glue it right straight down. And a very small edge around this, as best I can do. It looks pretty good. Okay. Since there is a little wiggle room, it's important to hold on to your image a little bit before while you try to smooth the glue around underneath of your image. All right, now I'm going to take my dimensionals, just regular size dimensionals, and you could be really, you know, if you had the edges, I would use the edges around this, you know, all the edges that come around the dimensionals. Well, you can just put that much on there. Oops. And while we have those dimensionals out, let's put them on the back of our friendship. One of my challenge cards, a group of us stampers get together and we do a challenge card every couple of weeks. And one of the challenge cards I'll show you in a few minutes. I'll tell you what the criteria are for the challenge part. All right, I'm just going to pull these off. Those backings are very easy to get off. And here is my card. Again, so that I can see what I'm doing here, and so I can get it straight. Okay. And I need to see there is a little, again, a little tiny margin. But you want to be able to see that fresh freesia under there. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and put, while I have the card open, we're going to put this on. And I didn't bring, oh, excuse me just a second. I like to use the Stampin' Seal when I'm working on the inside of a card. And I think I've explained several times why I do that. Here we go. It's just easier with a tape runner to pull the insert on the inside off in case you want to reuse it. Okay, so the Stampin' Seal works real well that way. Okay, making sure that's the front. Okay, this is the inside. And okay, it looks pretty good. Okay, and now we can build this piece of it, which is the little sentiment piece that says life is better with friends like you. And you're going to kind of try to center this as best you can. There we go. Now, there are two more things that we need to add, and I said that we would be using the Fresh Freesia Open Weave ribbon. And typically what I like to do is try and tie a ribbon ahead of time, but I didn't do that. So now I'm going to struggle, and hopefully I could do this without making it too much of a mess. All right, now I just pull on the edges of the ribbon, holding the center until I get the loops as small as I want them, or the size that I want, and just keep tightening it and pulling on the ends until it's the right size. I think I'm a little bit less there. I want it fairly small. I don't want it overtaking the ribbon piece. Okay, now I'm going to just take a minute and trim off that edge. And trim off that edge. That's a little bit long. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right, now you can do it either way. Some people have told me I tie my bows backward. It works for me. All right, so there we go. That's a very lightweight ribbon and a very easy one to tie. Okay. I'm working on learning how to tie a different kind of bow that has more than just 2 loops in it, like 4 or 5. No, not 4 or 5. At least 4 loops, like a double loop. It's been a little bit mind-boggling for me, so I'm still working on it. I'm not going to show you until I get it figured out. So there you go. All right, and then I'm going to take a glue dot and put it on the back of the ribbon. Here's the front of the ribbon. Put it on the back of the ribbon. All right, and then place this below the words. There we go. So you can still see that. All right, there you go. And then we're going to take our 2021-2023 in color opal rounds, which look like this, and maybe now you can see the light Fresh Freesia right there. And I'm going to use 2 small ones at the top. Remember, trying to create a visual triangle so people see the contrast and see the most of the card that you want people to see. And I'm going to put that right there. Okay, and there is our card. Very simple, very easy to make. Mostly stamps, ink, and paper. a little bit of embellishment, but that really worked very, very quickly and very well. All right, so there is that. Let me clear off a little bit of this first and show you quickly. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I mentioned the challenge card. Well, let me tell you, my challenge card had to be a friendship card. It had to have embossing involved in it. There were punches. I had to use punches. I had to use jewel tone cardstock and either designer series paper or foil of some sort. And actually, I have to have that ready for tomorrow. So it is ready. And this is the card that I made. I did punches because remember I told you that we use this flower and leaf punch. Okay. I did embossing. I used the foil. I did it for a friend. Okay. And let's see what else. Friendship, embossing, punches, jewel tones. Well, this is not fresh freesia, rich raspberry, which is one of my favorite jewel tone colors. And some of the others here. This is real red. This is Highland Heather. And then this is the rich raspberry. And then on the inside, I used the little iridescent rhinestones. So there is that card. And of course I put a little flower on the inside. So that is my challenge card. And then finally, and again, that idea came from Christine Blaine. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you where the original idea came from. The Pinterest card I saw was by Krista Cleary Yagasi. I'm probably not saying her name right. I'm sorry. And then this one is from Christine Blaine. I did a little changing up of colors and background, just a little bit. And then this next one, Amy O'Neill made this, and again, remember I told you at the very beginning, oftentimes I don't have the same materials they end up using, but I used this. I love this card. I love this card. Again, punches. There is definitely embellishment, the black matte dots as well as some of the iridescent sequins. This is a piece of designer series paper that I took, and it's probably, I don't know, let's see how wide that is. That's about 2¼ inches wide this way, and this 5½ inches long. And I just took it and I cut it diagonally to make kind of a little piece that would frame, the flowers could frame. The original one that Amy O'Neill did she had a border die that was a circle or a half circle. Well, of course I didn't have that, but I could pretty much kind of make it work this way, and all of this is die cut. And again, that's a friend. So these are all friend base cards. I didn't do anything particularly special with the envelope yet. I'll probably put a flower or something on it. But anyway, so that's what I did with the Flowers of Friendship stamp set. And it's been around in our catalog, our annual catalog, since May. And I hope it's something that if you don't have it and you like what you see here, you order the punch as part of at the time, it may have been in our spring mini of last 2021, and or maybe it was the spring mini of 2022. Anyway, and it came into it went over, carried over into the annual catalog. Anyway, that's it. That's what I have for you this evening, and not too bad. 45 minutes about, and I think you can see those items that I did, and I think you can see how beautiful those cards are. This one definitely was a bit more labor intensive, only because I had to cut out and color, or punch out and color all of these pieces, but I really enjoyed putting it together. And I think I really enjoyed what it ended up looking like. So that part I really did cherish that piece. And again, there is the rhyme, the shiny, the blingy part there to kind of there. Okay. All right. Well, I will see you next week. I will be out of town this weekend, so I'm hoping that by the time I get back in Sunday evening, I will have been inspired enough to come up with a card. If not, I'll just say, sorry, oops. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll show you, just come on and show you a card that I made, and then show you the swaps that I got, because I am making swaps. It's a Stamping Up local event. Actually, we have to go to Pittsburgh to do this, but that should be fun. And I think I'll enjoy being away from home for just a little bit. And but I love spending. I'll spend all day Saturday stamping, so that'll be nice. All right, I will see you again then on the 15th of November at 7 o'clock. Make sure that you enjoy, I think our warm weather is over with, and we're going to have some slightly chillier weather from now on out. But yeah, get out while it's sunny, walk around, do something outside, and enjoy some time outside before it gets too cold. And make sure that you do something for yourself that is creative every day. Take care. Bye.